Today, we're pulling back the curtain on what really unfolded in Sister Wives. Not the polished version they wanted us to believe, but the raw emotional journey that played out in plain sight. Because if you were truly paying attention, the warning signs were always there, hiding between every carefully rehearsed smile and awkward laugh. Hey friends, I'm Mia, and welcome back to TLC's next chapter. If you're all about diving deep into the reality behind reality TV, you're definitely in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, who do you think saw it coming first? Christine, Janelle, or maybe deep down, even Kody himself? In those early seasons, it almost felt like we were witnessing something groundbreaking. The Browns stood side by side, grinning for the cameras, promising the world that love wasn't a limited resource. It could be multiplied, expanded, shared endlessly. They preached unity, loyalty, and an unbreakable bond. They weren't just building houses, they were building what they believed was a bigger, stronger love. And for a moment, it almost felt real. We wanted to believe it too. But if you look closer, if you rewind and really watch those early moments, you'll see it. The tiny cracks already forming. Christine's strained smiles, Mary's sad, distant gaze, Janelle's constant urge to retreat and find her own pocket of peace. Even Robyn, the newcomer, the supposed unifier, carried an anxious energy, as if the ground beneath her feet was never quite steady. They talked a big game about communication and respect, but beneath the surface, silent rivalries and unspoken insecurities were quietly taking root. It wasn't the big moments that broke them. It was the quiet ones, the casual slights, the small betrayals, the steady erosion of trust that no public declaration could mend. Christine fought. She fought harder than we realized. You could see it in every tight smile, every voice crack in those confessionals where she spoke of wanting to matter. She wasn't just performing for the cameras. She was clinging to a family that seemed to stop clinging back. Her journey wasn't marked by fireworks. It was defined by a slow, painful unraveling, a connection slipping away one unmet need at a time. No one big betrayal, no massive explosion, just the steady, quiet devastation of being unseen. There was a scene, simple, almost easy to miss, where Christine quietly said she didn't feel like Kody wanted to spend time with her anymore. No anger, no accusations, just a woman acknowledging that what she had once believed in was gone. And when she finally said, "I don't want to be married to Kody anymore," it didn't come from rage. It came from heartbreak, from years of sacrificing her own happiness until there was nothing left to hold on to. Watching her fold Kody's clothes, packing away pieces of a life she'd spent decades building, it wasn't just emotional. It was devastating. Christine wasn't just ending a marriage. She was letting go of the dream she had built her entire adult life around. And she didn't do it with fury. She didn't light the match and burn it all down. She simply spoke the truth, and in a family built on avoiding the hard truths, that honesty hit harder than any shouting match ever could. Christine's strength wasn't loud. It was quiet, relentless. She chose herself, even when it meant losing nearly everything she had ever known. And as she found her voice, Kody grew more desperate to hold on to whatever control he had left. The tighter he gripped, the faster it all slipped away. And if you were watching, you saw it. Clear as day. Across many episodes, viewers watched a shift unfold. Kody, once the laid-back dad trying to keep a big, messy household afloat, began morphing into someone almost ruled by anger and fear. His defensiveness practically leapt off the screen. He wasn't the man patching cracks anymore. He was the one standing guard over them, shaming anyone who dared to even notice. When Christine started drawing boundaries, it rattled him, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It wasn't about missing a wife's companionship. It was about something much deeper, much more fragile. The crumbling of the version of himself he clung to. The patriarch, the center of gravity, the man everyone orbited around. Christine's heartbreak wasn't met with compassion. Kody met it with fury. Viewers saw him lash out in confessionals, pointing fingers at Christine, accusing her of disloyalty, immaturity, betrayal. The flashes of Kody's darker side that had once flickered here and there were now blinding, unavoidable, and it was ugly. Instead of wondering what he might have done differently, he chose anger, stacking his walls higher and higher. One of the most powerful moments came when Christine, steady and unshaken, stood across from a seething Kody. She didn't yell. She didn't beg. She was simply finished, and that quiet, unshakable strength seemed to enrage him more than any outburst could have. For the audience, it was devastating, but also vindicating. Social media exploded with support for Christine. People didn't just see the cracks in Kody's so-called leadership. They recognized the emotional abuse, the manipulation thinly veiled as concern. No one was fooled anymore. Christine wasn't the villain in Kody's narrative. She was the heroine of her own. As Christine packed away her hopes and prepared to walk away, the shockwaves hit the family like a silent earthquake. You could feel it in every awkward pause, every broken glance. This wasn't just Christine and Kody falling apart. It was the entire foundation, the whole house of cards, finally giving way to a storm that had been gathering for years. Janelle's reaction was the quietest, but maybe the most heartbreaking. She didn't fight. She didn't shout. Instead, it was as if she simply stepped back, as if deep down she knew this wasn't betrayal. It was survival. You could see it in the way she distanced herself during family meetings, the way her gaze would drop when things grew tense. It was like she had already grieved the family's old dreams, and maybe wasn't sure she wanted them back. Mary, on the other hand, looked like she was living through her worst nightmare. Sadness clung to her, thick and heavy. Her loyalty to the dream of the Brown family seemed almost stronger than her loyalty to herself. Her sorrow wasn't just about what was happening. It was about what had already been lost, even if she couldn't fully admit it yet. And then there was Robyn. If anyone seemed personally wounded by Christine's departure, it was her. Robyn wasn't just emotional, she was defensive, almost frantic. She cried, she pleaded for communication, but beneath it all was a deeper fear. Losing the carefully curated world where Kody's attention revolved almost solely around her. Her protectiveness of Kody only sharpened, becoming something almost fierce, as though by defending him she could somehow patch the widening cracks. But instead, her desperation only made them more obvious. When the family gathered to talk about Christine leaving, the tension was almost suffocating. Words were cautious, but the bitterness seeped through. Gone was the warmth they once forced into their voices. Gone was the illusion that had held them together. It was undeniable. The Brown family wasn't just losing a wife. They were losing the fantasy they had all tried so hard to believe in. But after all the bitterness, all the whispered resentments and public unraveling, something rare and breathtaking emerged. Christine smiling, and this time she meant it. It wasn't the tight, polite smile of survival. It was the real thing. The kind of smile that said, I chose myself. Watching her step into her new life felt like watching someone finally rise to the surface after being submerged for far too long. There was a lightness about her now, something you could feel through the screen. She laughed more, played more, planned more. And for once, she wasn't asking permission or apologizing for it. The fear had left her eyes. The tension had disappeared from her voice. In its place was something stronger, freedom. Whether she was setting offering her more fly, pin pancakes with her daughters. You could sense a new joy in Christine, not because everything was magically perfect, but because she no longer had to pretend it was, and that confidence, it showed in every part of her, in the way she stood taller, in the way she spoke about her future, in the way she dared to dream without apology. Christine wasn't surviving anymore. She was thriving. She was choosing a life where she no longer had to beg for love or battle for respect. And honestly, it became one of the most powerful transformations the show has ever delivered. Watching her evolution struck a deep chord because so many women know the ache of staying too long, clinging to hope that change might come. Seeing Christine finally break free served as a piercing reminder. It's never too late to choose yourself. The pure joy, the undeniable peace glowing on her face. That's what true freedom looks like after years of being told to settle for less. But where does the family stand now? After all the heartbreak, the arguments, and the unraveling, we've seen flashes of their new paths. But nothing could fully prepare us for the emotional wreckage that remains. Let's dive into where each of them finds themselves now, as the dust settles and harsh reality takes hold. Kody, well, Kody's stubborn streak remains unshaken. Despite all that's unfolded, he shows flickers of regret. Yet real accountability feels just out of reach. He speaks of how things could have been different, but it's hard to ignore how he's still clinging to control over something that's already broken beyond repair. His remorse is there, a faint, hollow echo, as he struggles to reconcile a family dynamic that no longer exists. Then there's Meri. Mary's loneliness practically drips from every frame. The longing behind her eyes, the quiet ache woven into her words. It's devastating. She seems trapped in an endless limbo, neither fully part of the family nor truly free. You can feel the crushing weight of her sadness in every attempt to reconnect, every scene where she looks heartbreakingly out of place. It's almost as if she's just waiting. She's waiting, hoping for change, but it's becoming painfully clear that change might never come. Janelle, on the other hand, is stepping into something different. She's found her own sense of independence, standing strong in who she is, no longer bending herself to fit a mold that never truly fit. You can feel her strength growing, even when the road gets tough. It's not easy. It's not simple. But Janelle is carving out her own space, building a life centered around her kids and her own peace, far away from the pull of the Kody's control. It's a quiet kind of freedom, but make no mistake, it's real. Then there's Robyn. Robyn is caught somewhere in the middle, still fiercely loyal to Kody, yet visibly struggling with what that loyalty even means anymore. She's trapped in this strange, heartbreaking space, trying to hold the crumbling pieces together while everything she believed in starts to slip through her fingers. You can almost see the questions in her eyes. Where did it all go wrong? And can anything be saved? But Christine. Christine is a different story altogether. She's not just surviving, she's thriving. The weight that once held her down, gone. She's embracing her new life, wide open, full of energy, full of purpose. You can see it everywhere, in the way she lights up around her kids, in her confidence, in the bold steps she's taking into new adventures. Christine has found herself again, and it's absolutely beautiful to witness. At the end of it all, what Christine has done is nothing short of courageous. Sometimes the bravest move a person can make is to walk away, especially when staying would mean losing themselves. Christine chose the unknown over the familiar pain. She fought for her life, her happiness, her freedom. It wasn't easy. It wasn't without heartbreak. But it was powerful. It was real. And her journey reminds us all. Sometimes the only way to heal is to break free. Now, here's the real question. If you had been in Christine's shoes, What would you have done? Would you have had the strength to walk away? Or would you have stayed, holding on to hope that things could somehow someday get better? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. And if you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more real conversations about Sister Wives and all the twists you don't want to miss. Until next time, I'm Mara, and you've been watching TLC's Next Chapter. Thanks for being here. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come.